That live hospitality talk show. Everybody's talking about it. Hey, I'm Russell of Hotels. It's show number 242. This is the intro first. I do a little monologue first, and then I'll do the intro. That makes sense, and then we'll come back and do the show. But hope you guys are doing well. Today is Tuesday, February 27th. Am I right? Yeah, today is the 27th. Hey, just a update because there's some people that were, not necessarily concerned about me, but I did have surgery on last Friday, just this past Friday, right? So today I had a checkup. So just for my mom and people out there that were, I guess, kind of concerned, I'm good. Everything is well. I went to get the checkup today. The appointment lasted about 2 minutes, and I'm good to go. Only restrictions I have right now, it was a hernia surgery, right? So they want to restrict what you're lifting and all that kind of stuff for about 5 weeks. So nothing over 20 pounds for 5 weeks. I'm like, well, that's hard because some of the food I lift is more than 20 pounds. You know what I mean? Even if it's vegetables, it's got to be at least 20 pounds. But I guess that limits me from cutting my yard. And I was like, well, I have a self-propelled lawnmower. Does that affect me? Is that 20 pounds? 20 pounds of torque? What is that? I don't know, but I'll maybe give that a couple of weeks and then get back to just doing whatever I normally do. So, but yeah, so I just want to the people that were concerned about me, people that had kind of send well wishes and thoughts and prayers and all that stuff. I do appreciate that. And yeah, everything is good. So we're ready to move forward. We're not looking back. We're moving forward. So anyway, the chat is on. So feel free to make your comments. I love the engagement. That's what this is all about. On Air with Russell of Hotels is all about engagement. And I encourage you to say something, to say that you're there, to say whatever, just whatever's on your mind, in the world of hospitality, in the way of hospitality. I mean, just saying hello, that's some type of hospitality right there. But anyway, the chat is open. Like I said, this is the monologue part, right? So I just told you about, what I did on Friday. Today is Tuesday, so I'm trying to think. What was I working on? Getting closer to, hey, Steve Gill, how are you, sir? Getting closer to finding out where my client wants to meet in North Carolina. We're looking at a place in Asheville, North Carolina, so hopefully we're close to, taking care of that. So I just need the word. I just need the nod. I just got an email just now from my hotel partner, to let me know that, hey, it was great meeting my client, this and that and whatever. And what can we do to move this thing forward? So we're just waiting for her and her organization to see if this is, if this is a good spot for them. So once I get the okay, then we move forward with that. And then I think I'm going to go check out that place. I did not get a chance to go because the same day the site inspection happened, which is Friday, that's the same day I had my surgery. So I could not, make that, but definitely we'll make it if we move forward and we're getting close to to signing a contract, an agreement, all that stuff. I definitely have to go check it out. So I'll keep you posted on that. But I'm gonna put you guys on hold for a second. We're gonna do the intro here, and then we're gonna get into the show. All right. So once again, this is On Air with Russell of Hotels. This is that live hospitality talk show everybody's talking about. This is show number 242. Can you believe that I've done 242 shows? I was just every now and then I just kind of catch myself and pinch myself. Like first I go, ow, after I pinch myself. And then I say, well, I can't believe that, I've done 242 of these shows, right? So it's time to get to another level, right? So I'm staying Steve says I'm staying at Hampton Inn in Alpharetta, Roswell, Georgia next month. Okay, cool, Steve. All right, let's put that on the screen there. Thank you so much, Steve. Appreciate that. Steve is out here I guess in LA somewhere, but he's saying he's going to be in Alpharetta, Georgia. I guess that's outside of Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know anything about it? Alpharetta, outside of Atlanta, right? Outside of Atlanta, right? Anyway, Steve, I'm going to put you on hold for a second, and then we're going to do the intro, then I'll come back to San Pedro. Yeah, you're in San Pedro. That's right. I know Steve from San Pedro back in the day. So anyway, let me put you on hold. Let's get this thing started. Let me hit that button.
Welcome to On Air with Russell of Hotels, where we talk about everything hospitality. from hotels to influencers and everything in between. We will feature guest interviews with hospitality professionals who will share their experiences. Your host, Russell Edmond, has spent over 25 years in the hospitality industry, beginning his career with Marriott International in hotel operations before moving into the sales arena and becoming a relationship-building director of sales and marketing. Russell then went to the other side as a hospitality entrepreneur. He now consults in the hotel and meeting space, which includes being the CEO of Russell of Hotels Group. Did I mention he was a veggie foodie? Yes. Russell is always looking for good non-meat eats. Please welcome your host, Russell Edmond.
Hey, once again, thank you so much for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels, that live hospitality talk show that everyone's talking about, show number 242. Thank you guys for joining. Today is Tuesday, February 27th. Now, this show comes on every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, right? PST, 1 o'clock PST, that's California time. And then I also do a daily check-in. That comes on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, just in case you wanted to know. So there's like 5 days of me, right? 5 days of me during the week that you'll see me talking about hospitality and all that kind of stuff. The good, the bad, the ugly, the challenging, all the stuff that happens within the hospitality industry. Not everything, but, it's all based on my experiences for the most part. But, every now and then I have conversation with other people, and then, those lead to other conversations, and that leads to me sharing things on this show, right? So it's all good. It's all in the, like I said, it's all in the name of hospitality, because that's the industry that I've spent all of my career for the most part. I think with the exception of maybe 3 years, I spent in hospitality. So 14 different hotels, over 25, 30 years of experience, starting off as a housekeeping manager, up to sales, into being a general manager and all that kind of stuff. So, and all that stuff in between. So it's all about, I'm not bashful about sharing my experiences and sharing my stories, because I think that's important that we know what we're getting into when we do jump into that. So regardless if it was 25 years ago or 5 years ago or 5 months ago, you deal with the same stuff. It's like a commonality, right? So you're dealing with people, you're dealing with emotions, you're dealing with all that stuff. So you're trying to, deliver that hospitality. And sometimes we fall short, and that's okay, right? As long as we learn from it, but we will fall short, okay? I've fallen short many times, and then you got to correct yourself, right? It's all about hospitality, right? It's all about trying to get it right. All guests are, they deserve that, right? At least in theory, they deserve that. Are guests always right? No, they're not always right. But this is the thing. Someone told me this some years ago. Joe Tatizian told me this. He said, you know what? The guest is not always right, but they are always the guest. Boom. I mean, when he said that, I was like, huh? That was pretty dope, right? Because, the guest is not always right, but they are always the guest. And the guests are the ones that are, for the most part, paying our salary. And that's why we're working. We're working to take care of them, to please them, making sure they come back. They have a great time, a great experience. So, and dealing with that, going into this industry, you have to know that, right? You got to like people, right? And hopefully people like you, right? You can't be, but then, I guess then again, there's people that can't get along with other people. Those are people that are in accounting, They're in accounting. We put those people in accounting, and then they just worry about the numbers and all that. We don't let them talk to anyone. We darn sure wouldn't let them talk to guests, right? So I guess there's a role for everybody. I don't know where this is coming from, but, I'm kind of on one of those roles today. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining. Let's move on. It's show number 242. I just remember, it seemed like a couple weeks ago I was doing show number 1, but now I'm on 242. So anyway, quick shout out to Miss Veronica. I call her V. Shout out to V Rivera, San Diego. What is it called? San Diego CVB? No, it's called something else. San Diego Tourist. I can't remember. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Visit San Diego, discover San Diego, sandiego.org. Okay, go to them and you'll get all the information about San Diego. But anyway, Veronica invited me to an event they're doing. She's doing like a road show. She does this annually. I know I went to the one last year that was here in Los Angeles as well. And she's having another one. This one's going to be in Beverly Hills, so I'm going to make sure I'm there. But I got my invitation last week, and she actually asked me if I knew anyone else that was interested in attending as well. So I gave her a list of maybe 3 or 4 people, and I'm pretty sure she extended that invitation to them as well. So V, thank you so much. Appreciate the invitation. Appreciate you opening up to other people that may have not attended, and I definitely will be there. So looking forward to seeing you and our hotel partners of San Diego there, because they travel like in a gang, right? So it's like V with the tourism authority. That's what it's called, San Diego Tourism Authority. So it's her, and then she brings her hotel partners as well, right? So various hotels will come and represent as well. So you get to talk to them firsthand about what they have. They do presentations, and then there's always networking opportunities as well. So as far as salespeople is concerned, those are things that you need to excel in. Because I'm going to talk about today, the topic for today is going to talk about, it's going to be an extension of what I talked about yesterday, but what hotel salespeople need to be successful, right? And part of that is networking, knowing how to network, knowing how to work a room. Not that I'm going into detail of that, but those are just the things you need to know. When you sign on to be a sales manager, you go to these events, you meet people, you have to work the room. You not just that you want them to know you, but you want to know the people that are there as well, right? Because you never know when you're going to need each other, right? So there you go. It's all in the name of hotel sales or sales within CVBs as well, right? So it's the kind of same thing, but of course, because my experience comes from the hotel sales side of it, I come from that perspective. Okay, so there you go. So much. Once again, shout out to Miss Veronica Rivera of San Diego Tourism Authority. Thank you again for the invite, and I will see you. I guess that's the 14th. 14th of March. Is it on my calendar? Yeah, San Diego Road. Oh no, it's the 13th. It's on a Wednesday. The 13th of March. The road show, San Diego. I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay. So anyway, okay, just jump into the topic, Russell. Why are you prolonging it? Let's jump into the topic. What hotel salespeople need to be successful? Now, I started this yesterday. Okay, so I do my daily check-in, like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So yesterday, which was Monday, I started this, right? But I only did the first 5. I'm gonna go over all of them, but I'm only going to the ones I already went over. I'm just going to touch on those. I'm not going to give you the whole definition of what I think about this and that or whatever, because I already did that. So go back. If you want them all in their entirety, go back to yesterday. It's here on LinkedIn. Did I mention I'm live on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube? Okay, so those are all the platforms that I'm live on right now as we speak. So Steve is on Facebook, as you can see. I can see the F right there, so I know he's on Facebook, but there's people on LinkedIn, there's people on YouTube, there's people on Instagram as well, and X. That's right, I forgot X. X is Twitter. So feel free, make comments, say, hey, what's going on? How you doing? I don't agree. You stink. You stupid. Whatever. That's fine. It's not a problem. I don't get my feelings hurt that easy. So anyway, where was I? Okay, so what hotel salespeople need to be successful? So I'm gonna go through the first 5, but like I said, I went through the first 5 already. But I ain't got a problem with doing that again. Okay, so boom. Understanding of the hospitality industry. Yeah, you got to understand what's going on. You just can't get in there and just think how to sell. You know what I mean? You may know how to sell, but there's different things, there's different idiosyncrasies within the hospitality space that if you don't know, you don't know what you don't know, right? So there's a learning curve, right? There is a learning curve. To me, it was easy because when I came into the industry, I came in operations. Now, operations would be, housekeeping, front office, restaurant, food and beverage or whatever. That's how I came in first, right? So that was my introduction because I had no hotel experience at all. So that was one of the big things for me because my first job out of college was actually my first job offer. Let me back up. My first job offer was at the Sheraton, I think Canal Street in New Orleans. Okay, that was my first job offer in sales as a sales manager. I knew nothing about selling or selling a hotel. Like, what am I selling? Are you selling space? What does that mean? Food and beverage, rooms, sleeping room. I didn't know what that even meant. So I said, well, it would benefit me if I went kind of the ground zero and kind of worked my way up. So I bypassed that job. I said, you know what? I turned that one down, right? He said, are you sure you want to turn this down? This is a good opportunity. I'm sure it is, but I don't know what the heck you're talking about. What am I selling? So what I did was left that or didn't take that job and took a job with Marriott, right? Which I'd already committed to Marriott anyway, but then the Sheraton job popped up. I'm like, oh, I thought about it for a couple of minutes, but one, it was out of state. Okay. I had never been out of California before. I'm like, I'm not going to some foreign state called New Orleans or Louisiana, which I had never been to. So I wasn't going to do that. So, and then, like I said, I didn't know what I'd be selling. So I said, well, let me find out how a hotel operates. So I took the job with Marriott, the best decision I've ever made. Started off as a housekeeping manager and worked my way up from there and understood that after I, went through several disciplines, discipline meaning housekeeping, front office, food and beverage, I would know how to sell a hotel, what I would be selling. And leave Blythe, yeah, well, I was already gone from Blythe, Steve, just so you know. All right, I was already gone from Blythe. I didn't go to college in Blythe. I went to college up here in Pomona, okay? So thanks, appreciate your comments, Steve. And, of course, I'll put it up there because I think you're a funny guy. But yeah, so I didn't understand. So I said, let me get my experience and then go from there. So number one was understanding hospitality industry. So I understood it, so now I can apply that to sales, right? Sales skills. You have to have sales skills. Negotiating deals or closing contracts or generating revenue. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, for a salesperson is to generate revenue through room sales, through food and beverage, or whatever your goals are, specific to whatever, you have to make sure that's what you're there to do. Communication skills. You gotta know how to communicate with people. You gotta like people, okay? I don't know if I put that down, but you gotta like people. But you darn sure have to know how to talk to people, and know what, how to object to certain things. Know when the right time to jump in and say, okay, yeah, I understand that. I understand your concerns, but just so blah 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 blah. Know what to say. Customer relationships and customer relationship management, or CRM, which is the system that you use. Now, most hotels will train you on the system because every major hotel chain has their own CRM system. I mean, even I have my own business. I have my own CRM. I use Salesforce. Okay, so I use Salesforce, and it is a CRM, right? So, but I had to teach myself how to do it, right? They're not hard processes, just repetitive things, right? So I keep it's like a database for me. It keeps all the database, all my contacts in there, phone numbers, emails, all the notes, any email correspondence I get, I copy and paste it into my CRM. So when I'm having a conversation with her, I just bring up their name, Steve Gill, boop, I typed it up, and all the information about Steve Gill, his company, his address, his email, what he does, the last conversation I had, all that stuff pops up. It's kind of the same thing with a hotel CRM or a sales CRM. You just have to know the stuff, and they'll teach you that stuff. So, don't put too much on that. And then negotiation skills. Yeah, you got to know how to negotiate. Negotiation is a give and take. You can't give them everything and then don't get anything in return, right? So hopefully it's a 50-50 thing. Well, I want this. Okay, well, you want that? Well, I'm going to give you that. But I want this from you. Whatever that is. I'm just throwing that stuff out there. But those are things I talked about yesterday. You can go back to yesterday and you can see these in its entirety and the definitions of all those as given by me on LinkedIn. Let's just say, just go to LinkedIn, look at yesterday's daily check-in, and I go through all 5 of those. Well, today I got another 5. Okay, so I'm gonna go into these 5 in its entirety. So boom, here we go. You guys ready? Hold your hat. Hold on to your hat, because here we go. Networking abilities. Okay, I just mentioned networking, like the thing that V is having, the San Diego Roadshow next week or 2 weeks from now is a networking event. It's a networking opportunity for me to go and network with a lot of the salespeople, either the tourism people that represent San Diego as a whole, or some of the hotels that represent San Diego as a whole. So my job is going in and network, so they know who I am and I know who they are, right? So that's what it's all about. But in saying that, networking abilities, building and maintaining a strong network of contacts within the hospitality industry is crucial for hotel salespeople to generate leads, referrals, and repeat business. Attending industry events, conferences, and networking functions can help expand their professional network. Yeah, that's what you're trying to do. You want to expand your network. You want people to know you, right? So I know of Veronica because I met her at several networking events. So I saw how she moved. I saw what she was doing. I saw what she was talking about. I'm like, you know what? She's a cool girl. Okay, let's find out a little bit more about V. So every time I go and see her, or not see her, but go to an event and I happen to run into her, we're talking about San Diego. We're talking about what I have for San Diego. Do I have any potential business for San Diego? So it's a give and take, right? Not necessarily I'm negotiating, but we're both talking about each other's business, right? Her business is San Diego, bringing tourism in the form of meetings to San Diego. My job as a hotel site selection is to potentially bring meeting business to a certain destination, maybe even San Diego, right? So it's important that I share the information that I have, who I'm working on or working with or whatever, then that way she can introduce me to some of her counterparts or her hotel partners or whatever. Oh my God, you need to meet so-and-so with Hotel X, I'm just using that as an example. But that's normally how it works, right? But if you're just sitting in the corner with a cocktail and you're really not engaging, well, that's not doing anyone any good. And salespeople sometimes do that. Even people in my place I need to be networking as well. Now, I wouldn't be any good. I wouldn't be doing my business any good or my clients any good if I'm sitting in the corner with a drink, just kind of like watching what's going on. No, I need to engage because they are there to help me and I'm there to help them, right? So that's what it's all about. So you have to have the networking abilities to work with people. You got to like people too, and hopefully people like you, okay? So because if you're standoffish and extrovert and all that stuff, well, that's going to be hard to be a salesperson. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying that because if most of your business is doing that or trying to generate business or whatever, communicate, and you can't do that, well, that's not a good thing on either side. For me as a business owner or, someone on the other end that happens to be with a CVB or a hotel, right? That doesn't work. Okay. So anyway, so that's networking abilities, adaptability, and resilience. The hospitality industry is dynamic and constantly evolving. Yes, it's always changing. Hotel salespeople need to be adaptable and resilient in the face of changing market conditions, customer demands, and competitive pressures. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure because you're competing with that hotel across the street. Okay, and you got to be resilient and remember this, you're not going to get 100% of the business that you go after. Sometimes people think that, I'm going to get that business. Yeah, you may, but there's going to be business. It's going to be a lot more business that you're not going to get that you are going to get. That's just it. It's the law of numbers, right? The more you have in your pipeline, the more people that you're, going after, the more likely you are to get, some of them. You're not going to get all of them. Okay, so let's just get that out of your head. I don't care what salesperson, I don't care what you sell, what product, what service you sell. You're never going to get 100% of the business that you're going after. Not going to happen. But you have to be able to adapt to the environment, adapt to the people, be resilient when you get turned down because you will get turned down, okay? So what? You get turned down, you keep it going, right? It's the law of numbers, okay? If for every 10, clients that I go after, I'm going to get one of them, okay? Hey, that's good, right? Hopefully that goes up to maybe 2 out of 10, or 50%. That would be great, but it doesn't always happen, but you got to be resilient. If you fall down, you just get up and dust yourself off and keep it going, right? Because someone's going to say yes, all right? So 100% won't, but there's going to be a certain percentage that you're going to get the business from. So, but you got to keep going. There are pressures, competitive pressures that as well, internally as well as externally. Okay, you're competing externally. You're competing against that hotel across the street, or maybe in another destination. I remember when I worked downtown at the Westin Bonaventure, right? We would compete all the time with hotels in Florida and then Palm Springs area, like the JW Marriott and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, dang, there's no way you can compete, right? So if it's a resort and I'm a city location, so it's based on what is the client looking for, right? So do they typically meet in like downtown areas, or do they typically meet in a resort area? So I mean, those are things you have to find out, right? So there's a lot of questions and answer period, right? You got to be on the phone, answer these questions, because 9 out of 10 times I can't go and meet them wherever they are, right? So I have to spend a lot of time on the phone saying, hey, what are you looking for? Basically, do we have a chance? You know what I mean? So you're dealing with pharmaceutical companies and all that stuff. Some pharmaceutical companies, they have to be in a downtown location. They don't like the resort kind of thing because it sends out back in the day, it could send out a kind of a negative thing like, oh, we're getting wine and dined by all these hotels and blah, blah, blah. We're staying at the best hotels and golf resorts and all that stuff. So they weren't able to stay in some of these golf resorts. So if I knew that, I was like, okay, we have a great, downtown location, and name all the benefits of utilizing our hotel. So, I mean, those are things that we need to do. But you had to be resilient because, like I said, I was going to get some heavy hitters day in and day out, right? And some of those battles I won. A lot of them I lost, but did I, keep the faith? Did I like, oh my God, I'm done with this sales stuff. This stuff sucks. No, it's a challenge, right? It was just a challenge. And sometimes we got to rise to the challenge. So if you don't have thick skin, sales is not for you. Okay. So, but hey, make comments. I'm Russell of Hotels. I'm talking about, what salespeople need to be successful. So feel free to jump in if you got comments. Hey, I'm here for it. But I'm going to keep talking, okay? Until you have comments, I'm going to keep talking. So the next one is product knowledge. Hotel salespeople should have in-depth knowledge of their property's features and amenities, services, and packages. This enables them to effectively showcase the unique selling points of their hotel and address customer inquiries with confidence. Yeah, so hotel salespeople, you need to have an in-depth knowledge of your property, right? Everything from A to B, A to Z. From soup to nuts. I don't even know if they even go together, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. But no, you have to know everything. Your meeting space, how far you are from the airport, who's the competition. You need to know exactly everything that's going on with with your property first and foremost, and how does that relate to potentially that business that you're trying to get in the door? Does it coincide with what you're trying to do? Is your hotel what they're looking for? Even if it's not, sometimes you got to make them look for that stuff. Did you know about this? Did you know we have a pool? We can do a rooftop, reception, whatever. Not every hotel can do that. Like if you're competing with another destination, know what that destination is. Know the hotels they're looking at. Ask the question. If you don't know, ask the question. Just say, hey, who are we competing with? Who's on your top list, and why are they tops on your list? Ask them those questions, and that way okay, well, I know what I have, and I know what that hotel has, right? So I'm going to sell this way, I'm going to sell that way, I'm going to sell but never badmouth your competition, okay? Know your product, but don't badmouth your competition. Like, oh, no, that place sucks. We have this and that. They don't have that. I was just there. No, they don't have that. They haven't renovated. You know what? There's a time and place for everything, and that is never the time and place for that, to badmouth the competition or the person that's selling against you, okay? Oh, yeah, he used to work here. He was no good here. So, now he's selling that place. I mean, whatever it is, stay away from that stuff, okay? Because that makes you look bad. That doesn't make them look bad. It makes you look bad, right? Like you can't come back with anything else other than that. Know your product. Know what you have. Know what you have and know what they're selling as well, right? I mean, you have to know the competition, but you don't badmouth the competition. So just be confident in what you're selling, be confident in your product, okay? That you can deliver, okay? So, and a lot of times it comes down to who they like. Do they like you versus whoever's selling against you, right? So sometimes we gotta, send them things, right? Send them a card, send them a note. Thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate your time. Whatever it is, a lot of times that separates the hotel from the person, right? So get the hotel sometimes out of the equation, because sometimes hotels are even. They have the same things that we have. We got a bed, they got a bed, okay? They got a restaurant too? No, we got a restaurant too. Ours open for breakfast and lunch. What? There's open for breakfast, lunch too. The only thing that separates is you. You're the difference. So sometimes, you got to throw those things. You got to throw some personal things. They got kids. Oh, I got kids too. How old are your kids? Oh, my kids are teenagers. Oh my God, mine are too. In teenage years, the worst. Oh my God. Whatever it takes to do, you need to do it, right? So it's not always product knowledge is important, but sometimes know them as well, right? Know them as people, where they normally stay, where they from. Find out those things. Make, some side conversation, right? It's not always about that property. It can be about personal stuff as well, right? So I'm just throwing out all kind of game today. So I'm just in the mood to give today, all right? So time management. Hotel salespeople often juggle multiple tasks and deadlines simultaneously. Strong time management skills are essential for prioritizing activities, maximizing productivity, and achieving sales targets with designated timeframes. Yeah, so time management is important. We're always under the gun, right? So we got to make sure we get things done in a timely manner. Clients, what is the timeliness of the client? When they need to make a decision. And sometimes we can't make decisions on our end until we get information from our supervisors or our managers or whatever, right? So everything kind of coincides, but yeah, time management and not spending a lot of time on certain things or getting things. When a client asks for a deadline, I need this information by this time, make sure you have it before that. Okay, those are things that we have to learn to do, right? Because we can lose business based on us not being timely on a lot of different things. So this is to make sure time management is very important. Positive attitude and professionalism. Oh my goodness. A positive attitude, enthusiasm, and professionalism are key attributes that contribute to the success of hotel salespeople. Maintaining a positive demeanor, even in challenging situations, can build trust, credibility, and rapport with clients. Yeah, you want to build, I can't say that's enough. Positive attitude and enthusiasm. You know how I talk about, and do I still talk about this? Where, who's your biggest advocate? Like, you got to be your biggest advocate. You got to be the one that's excited, because once you're excited, people feed off of that. It's the same thing. You got to have a positive attitude. You got to be professional all the time. I don't care who it is. Remember, they're your client, right? I don't care what they're doing. They want to, get drunk and all that stuff. You keep things, in perspective, because this is your job, right? You're still trying to you're trying to persuade them to utilize your hotel, right? You don't let your guard down. Oh, they're having a good time. Well, we took them out last night and they're having a good time and they're drinking. So, I just kind of, let my hair down as well. No, you can't do that. Your job is to get the business. You have a good time later, and have a good time on, by yourself or with your people, your family, not with the client, right? Positive attitude and always be professional. Okay. Always be professional. I remember, this stuff still goes on, right? I still, to this day, and this goes back to when I first started working with Marriott years ago, that, we would have trainings or whatever, people from all over the United States or all over the region, we would do these trainings or whatever. And there's always an opportunity there's always like a reception, a dinner, or like a party kind of atmosphere kind of thing, right? And I honestly think they did that just to see how people would interact with each other and who would get carried away and, who would, keep things professional. Well, I don't think anyone ever told me this, but you kind of just watch the layout of what's going on, right? And one thing that I always learn, and I still do to this day, I have my own business now, right? I do to this day. 2-drink minimum. 2-drink maximum. Minimum. I got to have 2 drinks. No, 2-drink maximum. That's it. I never drink more than 2 drinks. And normally that's a beer, right? So, because it keeps you out of, doing crazy stuff or talking crazy or whatever. And it keeps things in perspective, okay? I eat a lot, though. I'll eat. But as far as drinking is concerned, 2 is the maximum amount that I'm ever going to drink, right? Because I need to be in control. I don't know who's watching me, right? That's the thing, right? And your client could be watching you. Someone that's learning could be watching you. You could be with someone, right? I have this a sales protege with me, and I'm trying to teach him or her the ropes, whatever. Now, if I'm getting out of control, well, what does that tell them? Like, oh, it's okay to get out of control. Okay, Russell got out of control. What the heck? How far does that go? Right? Who are they gonna tell? And it's gonna get back to my boss, my GM, my director, all that kind of stuff. So no, keep the attitude. Make sure you get a positive attitude. You got to have that. Stay professional. And a lot of times being professional is making sure you know when to say enough's enough. Okay. Now, this is, like I said, this is from experience. I never got out of control, but I remember seeing people that did get out of control and they no longer had their jobs. Come Monday morning, like say that was a Friday night, come Monday morning, they didn't have jobs. Okay. And I saw that happen time after time after time. I'm like, whatever happened to so-and-so? Oh, didn't you hear? Oh, they got carried away at that last event, like literally carried away. Like, oh my God. So that stuff is important. People don't get it. Yeah, we have a good time in hospitality. Yeah, there's a lot of drinking, a lot of food and all that kind of stuff. But you have to know when to turn it off. Let's take it down a couple of notches. Steve Gill says, but the gym was lit like a light bulb. Yeah, sometimes that happens too. And Steve, I can tell another story real quick. Speaking of that, I had a general manager that he liked to tip him up during the day, right? And I'm like, and I kind of got caught. I didn't get caught up in it, but we were celebrating. I remember this. Okay, so thank you for Steve for saying this. But it was a situation where we had met budget. Hotel not met budget in, I don't know, several years or something like that. Okay, Steve, in several years. Let's just say the hotel had not made budget in several years, right? And we had made budget. So he was happy. Okay, I was happy. We were excited. So he said, hey, come and meet me. It's like, say 1 o'clock. It's like 1 o'clock, okay? 1 o'clock afternoon, after lunch, right? He said, hey, come meet me in the bar. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll be there a couple of minutes. So I go in the bar. He's already one drink in, right? And I have a beer, my normal thing, right? Normal beer, whatever. And then, but I'm there because I'm celebrating, right? So because we made budget, we're happy. Okay, all right. That was it, right? Okay, that was it for me. So leave, I go back to work. I think he leaves and goes home for the day. Okay, that's fine, whatever. The next day, not 24 hours later, he says, hey, meet me in the bar. I'm like, okay, I think he wants to talk. Okay, talk about something. So I go to the bar, and once again, he's one drink in. And he said, hey, don't you want a drink? I was like, and I said, you know what? This is not a good look. I said, no, I don't want to drink. And I said, honestly, you got to think about it like this. And he's my boss, right? This is the first time I had to do this. I said, people are looking at us like we run the hotel. We I guess, if from a hierarchy standoff, you're the general manager, I'm the director of sales and marketing. Yeah, I guess we are the two people in charge of the hotel. If he's not there, then pretty much I'm in charge of the hotel, right? But I said, hey, that's not a good look. People are looking at us and we're drinking, we're abusing the system, right? We can't do this. Now, if we want to go off property and have a drink at the bar right across the street or down the street, that's fine. No harm, no foul. No one's going to see that. Our employees are not going to see that. But we have a responsibility to our employees to they can't come in here and drink. So why are we doing that? Just because we're the GM and the director of sales does not mean we have authority to do whatever the heck we want to do. And we're not even entertaining people. Now, if we're entertaining clients, that's something else. But there's no clients there. It was just him and I. So I said, I can't do this. And I said, I would hope that you would refrain from doing this too. I had never had to do this before up to that point, and I haven't had to do it since. That was one of the most uncomfortable situations I've ever been in, when your GM is the one that's doing the drinking and you're trying to tell him that he shouldn't do it. And I think it caught him off guard, and he said, you know what, you're absolutely right. And then after the second double, he left, got in his car and drove home. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. We got to be responsible. We got to be professional. And sometimes some uncomfortable situations do happen where we have to jump in and say, hey, this is not the thing to do. We shouldn't be doing that. And like I said, I never had to do it up to that point, and I haven't had to do it since, right? But sometimes it comes to that. And there's just one of those situations where I didn't like the feeling. I didn't like the feeling that that we're like this elitist group of people, and I didn't like the feeling that employees are looking at us like, well, if they can do it, well, who they think they are. I mean, they're drinking this and that, and all, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're not entertaining. And I was always trying to tell my salespeople that, hey, as long as you're entertaining, yeah, have a drink, have a cocktail, whatever. As long as you're entertaining, that's fine, because that's future business or potential business, right? But if we're just two managers in the bar drinking at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that is unacceptable. Okay, I don't care who it is, that is unacceptable. So thank you, Steve, for that. I don't know if you remember that story or not, but thank you for reminding me, because it's something that needs to be shared. So thank you, appreciate you. So that kind of took a turn. But anyway, hey, what does Russell of Hotels do? What do you do, Russell? We're moving forward now. We're already past that. Thank you, Steve, for that. And please feel free, if you missed some of this, you just happen to be coming on, feel free to rewind it, go back into it later. But yeah, it's important that you guys hear some of this good stuff, especially when it comes to salespeople and, what makes them successful, what can make them successful. But you need to know what you're getting into before you do it, right? I mean, I'm sure most people do know, if you worked in a hotel environment before, maybe get introduced to, coming into sales, whatever, you have an idea of what it entails, but that kind of gives you, a little bit more than just an idea. It gives you some of the things you need to be prepared for. Okay. And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about being a resource. I'm all about letting people know what they need to do. I'm all about letting people know what I experienced coming up, because no two people came up in this industry alike. Okay. Everybody's experience is different. The story I just shared with you with my GM, maybe some people have not, experienced that before, but I did. And, there's two ways I could have done it. I could have handled it the way I did, or I could just let it go. But I kind of think sometimes, where would I be if I let that go? If I let that go, and that was, 20 something years ago. So if I let that go, what kind of manager would I be now? If I was one of those ones that just like kind of let things go, and like I would probably be the GM that's drinking at 2 o'clock as well. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to draw the line. You got to say, you know what? Enough's enough. This is not right. This is not good. And like I said, his boss wasn't there. No one would have known, right? But I knew. That's the thing. Sometimes you got to be, bigger than the situation. Okay. And, not that I'm patting myself on the back and I feel, oh yeah, my God. No, it's not that. But I always look at who's behind me watching me. If you think about it like that, a lot of things would change. Attitudes would change if you thought about that. Like, who's watching me? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't want that. That's not a good look. Okay. I don't want them thinking of me like that. Okay. And that's how I thought. Right. So there you go. Hard decision, but it was a decision that needed to be made. So boom. Okay. So what's the next thing? What do I do? Who am I? I'm the man. I'm the brand who helps your brand. Right. So Russell of Hotels is a company organization that I came up with. Right. After working in hotels for 25, 30 years, my last position was a director of sales and marketing. I wanted to know, how could I help out more people? I helped out, you can, as a director of sales and marketing or as a general manager, you're at the mercy of that hotel. It's not like you can help out multiple hotels. No, my job is to help out this one particular hotel at this address. Okay. Within these four walls of this building, this is where I can help. It's frowned upon that you go outside and help the hotel across the street. Well, I didn't like that. Okay. And I said, you know what? It's time for me to branch up, because I've amassed a lot of knowledge, and there's a lot of hotels that need some of the knowledge that I have, so I can share with them. So I started Hotel Site Selection, which I always want to be a meeting planner. I always want to help companies and organizations with finding, sites for their for their meetings, their conferences, their convention, their conferences, right? So I always wanted to do that. So I started Hotel Site Selection. So that's one thing that I do. And then along the way with that, I started doing creating content. This right here, this show is, is creating content, right? It's creating content for Russell of Hotels, for what I do, for my experience. Also, it's creating content for the hotels that I'm showing in the background. Did you guys notice that everything that I changed, there's a different hotel, or maybe the same hotel, but it's a different view of that hotel. So this is the Marriott JW, right? So this is creating content for this brand. So when I say I'm the brand who helps your brand or keeps your brand top of mind, yeah. And I do that in the form of doing a live hospitality talk show where I can show what these hotels look like to the world, to people that never seen these hotels before, that don't know what, the Marriott, the JW Marriott LA Live is, which is located downtown Los Angeles, right? So it kind of shows off that as well. So I'm a brand show off. So my job is to show off specific brands or whatever brand I happen to be in. I'm going to show off that brand, right? And I always say this, I never show a brand or a hotel that I've never been to, that I've never experienced before. So I've experienced this hotel before. I've been there. I've stayed there. So of course, it's good for me to show that. So I'm never gonna, someone's gonna send me, we stay, there's a hotel here in New York, on Times Square. I want to send you some photos so you can show it on your show. No, unless I'm there, unless I've experienced it, unless I've actually taken the photos and the videos myself, I'm not gonna do it. That's just it. So that's why I draw the line, right? So no, anything that I show is because I've been there, I've experienced it. I'm the one that took the photos. I'm the one that took the videos. Okay, so I just think that's a way to keep things above board, right? Because social media is one of those things that, used wrong, people will show anything like, oh yeah, I was here, I was there. They weren't there. They didn't do that. But all the stuff that I show, I want to make sure that yes, I was actually there. Yes, I did experience it. So yeah, so I'm always going to do that, right? So there you go. So you ain't ever have to worry about that. So those are some of the things that I do. So I just want to make sure I share that. And Steve said, I was watching you. Let me just put that on there. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. You probably were. there. Steve and I worked together at a hotel in San Pedro together. So he probably knows the situation I was talking about. And he may have seen it. I don't know. But yeah. So if he was there, that's fine. But like I said, that's a story that I share when I think about it because I think it's important. Do you know Lori at the down JW? Lori who? What's Lori's last name? Got to give me full names. I'm not sure if I know Lori or not, but I could. Let's see. Okay, what's the next? What do I do? Relevant. Okay. How is your brand staying relevant? Lori, I know the name. I do know the name. I know her name. Yes. I don't know from where, but I do know the name. But how do I keep brands relevant? Okay. Is that what it was? See, Steve, you're getting me mixed up here. Let me go back here. So is your brand staying relevant? Yeah. Okay. Is your brand staying relevant? How is your brand staying relevant? How are you keeping your brand relevant? These are a couple of things that you use to keep your brand relevant. Number one, continuous market research. Yeah, you got to do market research. You got to continuously work on your brand. You don't just, okay, this is a brand I work for and that's it, right? You got to, what's going on in your market? What's going on in your area? You got to keep it top of mind. You got to make sure you work on your brand. Are you posting things? Have you introduced your hotel to social media? Do people know about your hotel? That's one thing that we don't do enough of. And when I mean us, I mean marketers in the hotel space, okay? We don't do enough of promoting our brand and putting our brand out there via social media. Social media done well is a good thing. Like I said, a lot of times we do things and we shortcut. We do shortcuts on social media, which doesn't do anybody any good, right? So make sure we're doing research. We know what the competition is doing. We know what's going on out there around our hotel. And sometimes we need to capitalize on that stuff. Number two, adaptability and innovation. Are we being innovative? Whatever that even means to your property. And innovation can be in the realm of social media as well. Or what about AI and all that stuff? I mean, there's a lot of AI tools that are out there that we need to stay on top of because our guests expect it. They're demanding that we stay on top of certain things. They're demanding that the experience becomes better for them. If that's using AI for the chat bots to take reservations or to answer the frequently asked questions, we need to make sure we do that. Number three, strong online presence. Okay, I just talked about social media, strong online presence. No one can ever say that Russell of Hotels does not have a strong online presence. I'm there 5 days a week. I do this show 5 days a week, or I do a show 5 days a week, right? So no one can ever say that I don't know that brand unless you just never seen it, and everyone hasn't seen it. And that's why I do a show 5 days a week. It's for the people that haven't seen me, right? That don't know what I do. So that's the key, right? So I figured that out, I don't know, a couple of years ago when I first started doing on air with Russell of Hotels. I thought that was it, right? I like, oh, I'm only going to do this. I don't need to do anything else. People are going to know who I am. No, that's not how it works, right? You think, yeah, I have access. Let's just say on LinkedIn. I got access to, I think I have 27,000 followers or people that I follow me on LinkedIn, right? 27,000, right? But you think that when you do something like this, it hits all 27,000. It doesn't, right? So my job is to try to hit that 27,000. If that's 1,000 at a time, then that's what I'm going to do, right? So the reason why I post as much as I do, the reason why I do these daily check-ins or this live hospitality talk show, it's not for the people that already know that I'm who I am or what I do or how I can help them. It's for people that don't know, all right? So that's why I'm constantly doing these shows, right? It's for the people that don't know. And for hotels, hotel marketers to think that everyone knows their hotel, you're sadly mistaken, okay? They don't know your hotel. And remember, people always only remember the last thing they saw, right? So if I didn't post anything if I post something like 3 weeks ago, they're gonna may remember the stuff I posted 3 weeks ago. But what about someone else is doing something every day? You're gonna remember that person before you remember me, right? So this is my attitude, right? Is that I'm gonna post as much as I can because I want people to know who I am, what I do, and how I can help them. The same thing for hotels. You should let people know who your hotel is, where it's located, how that hotel can help people. I mean, it's the same kind of concept, but you have to continuously do it. It doesn't start one time and ends one time, right? You got to constantly do it. So having a strong online presence, meaning you got to work at it. You don't just do it one time or do it for a week and like, oh my God, I'm tired. Whew, well, how long you did it? I did it for 5 days. I'm not going to do it anymore. No, I've done 244 of these shows. On air with Russell of Hotels, I've done 244. Okay, last year, I counted with the daily check-ins and the on air with Russell of Hotels, I think it was 250 something, somewhere around there. Because this show is weekly, so that's 52 times I do on air with Russell of Hotels, right? But if I'm doing the daily check-in 4 days a week, 4 times whatever, however many weeks in a year, you do the math, right? So it's probably it's over 200, 250, somewhere around there, I guess, somewhere around there. So that's how many times I did a live last year, right? So, but do I think that's enough? No, I got to do more. I got to do more because I think the more you do, and a lot of people say, well, what about the algorithms? You got to figure out the algorithms. Maybe you're not posting things you're not using the right hashtags and all that stuff. Algorithms change, okay? So I know there's people out there that are like, oh, I figured out the algorithm. Now I know how to reach more people. No, you don't, okay? Because algorithms change. You're never going to figure them out. So only thing that I figured out, everything that's a constant for me is that I know I have to post. I have to continuously post. Now, if the algorithm comes around and it catches what I do, then that's fine. Okay, and it catches and it goes like wildfire because I caught the algorithm, right? But I just been doing the same thing I've been doing. The constant is posting. You still have to post, right? Regardless what the algorithm is doing or how it's configured or whatever, you still have to post. The algorithm's not posting for you. You still have to do that stuff, right? So continuously do it. I never try to figure out the algorithm. Hopefully I get caught up in the algorithm one day and whatever I post goes viral or whatever the heck that even means these days. But it comes back to a strong online presence. So if it's your individual brand, your personal brand, your business brand, your hotel brand, whatever it is, you need to have a strong online presence. Number 4, authentic brand storytelling. Tell a story. You got to tell a story. I told a story about, how I got started in this industry. 14 different hotels, the different positions that I had. When I got into sales, my first job out of college, my first job offer, and the first job that I took. Those are stories. I told the story about, had to deal with my general manager drinking, at the damn hotel. I mean, I talked about that stuff. I talked about salespeople, and those things came from my own experiences, going to certain networking events and only having 2 drinks at the maximum. That's the only thing I have because I've seen people get caught in this, a pitfall and they couldn't get out and they end up losing their jobs, right? It's still happening to this day, right? Just because we're, there's a younger generation coming up, you still can't go out there and drunk and get tore up and act silly, okay? People are still watching that stuff, right? People still look at that. People still have, respect for each other, and they still frown upon people that get carried away, okay? It still happens, right? So don't think, you're just old and I may be old, but I ain't stupid, all right? And you have to, like I said, you have to watch yourself. I'm telling you, you have to watch yourself. Just when you think someone's not watching you, that's when they're watching you. So anyway, that was that. Number 5, customer engagement and feedback. And, encourage that. I encourage customer engagement and feedback. When I do a meeting for someone, I'm asking for feedback. Give me feedback. I need to know, did I do something right? Did I do something wrong? How can I improve, right? I need to know that stuff, right? And my client can tell me that. But if I didn't want any feedback, then I wouldn't know how I can improve. And then when I lose the client, then I'm like, well, how did I lose the client? I can't believe I lost the client. Well, you didn't ask for feedback. You didn't, say that, okay, I'll do better next time. Have a conversation with them. Sit down and have a conversation with them. When everything is done, have a conversation with your client. Say, hey, how was it for you? How was it for your attendees? How can I improve? And when's the next meeting? Ask for the next business. Okay, ask for the next piece of business. And collaborate. If you can't do all that stuff, you don't know what you're doing, know where to start, you don't know how to do online presence, collaborate and partner with Russell of Hotels. That's what I do, right? That's my job, right? Hey, there you go. So do you need any assistance at all? I'll give you my email at the end. You can always reach out and touch. Who's hiring? Now, I saw a couple of positions that were hiring, and these are here in Los Angeles, so don't think they're all over the United States. I'm not H Careers or Indeed. I'm not any of those. I just give the information that I find on those platforms. Let's see. Okay, I saw 2 of them. Dream Hotel Hollywood, they're looking for a director of finance. Now, the Dream Hotel, that's like the premier hotel in Hollywood. I love the Dream Hotel. Rooftop bar, all that kind of stuff. I mean, typical Hollywood. But yeah, they're looking for a director of finance. So the director of finance, so someone that, doesn't want to be around a lot of people, they can just put them in a room somewhere and you just do the finance thing. That's the job for you, right? You ain't got to worry about people. You ain't got to interact with anybody. The Inn at Playa del Rey. Now, I drive by this hotel all the time. It's in Playa del Rey, obviously. I just drove by there the other day. I'd never been in this hotel. Small, like 21, 22 rooms. They're looking for a hotel manager. Now, I think the hotel manager is like the general manager as well, right? I think that term is interchangeable. I believe it is. It's managed and owned by the Four Sisters Inn. They have like hotels like in I want to say, I think Sonoma, somewhere, one of the wine countries. I can't remember exactly which one, but they have hotels in Monterey as well. But the thing about this hotel, or this job, is I always get, what am I trying to say? When I see the listings for these job openings, I read the definitions, right? And one thing that popped up, it said you need that the guests and the employees have to be, you have to be accessible to them 24/7. You got to be accessible 24/7 to the guest and to your employees and to the ownership. Okay. It paid pretty good for a 22-room hotel. It did pay pretty well, right? But based on the duties, I mean, you're checking people in, checking people out, you're doing accounting, you're doing payroll, you probably in there cleaning rooms. I know you have to set up for breakfast, and you're doing breakfast in every morning. It seems like down there a 7-day-a-week job. I'm like, darn, what the heck? But yeah, so some of these smaller, but it's, when you say boutique hotel, this is your typical boutique hotel, 22 rooms, very nice, how they say, highly appointed or whatever the heck they use. But it's definitely one of those places. It sits in the Paloma Wetlands. Paloma Wetlands? Yeah, which is like a reserve. Like you can't build anything there. It's in right outside of Marina Del Rey, but it's in Playa del Rey. It's a very nice area, very beautiful, nice area on your way to the beach, right? 22 rooms, but it is a lot of work. I'm telling you, if you're interested in that job, I mean, go for it. You know, who am I? But definitely one of those jobs that you're gonna be on stage, damn near 24/7. 24/7. Hey, Miss Janie, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us. I'll put your comment on there. Hey, yes, sir. Yep, that's right. That's right. I'm not sure what I'm yesing about, but moving forward. Let's see. Where am I? I'm almost done, right? So the three P's. We're at the three P's. Russell of Hotels, three P's. What are the three P's, Russell? What does that mean? That means we're close to the end of the show. But purpose, passion, perseverance. Okay. Purpose. Know why you do what you do. I do this because I want to share my experience. I want to share what I do. I want to share my story. Let people know, that this industry is a great industry. I spent 25, 30 years in it. There's a lot to know about. There's a lot to do, but one of those rewarding jobs that I've had, you know what I mean? So it's only, I was going to say the most rewarding job. Well, I haven't had many jobs though. I spend most of my time in the hotels, right? But it's afforded me to travel that I do. I still travel to this day. In fact, now there's another trip that's coming up, in the next couple of weeks. So I mean, those are things that I'm doing, and the stuff that I learned, catapulted this Russell of Hotels. If I didn't entrench myself or throw myself into this industry years ago, there'd be no Russell of Hotels. No way. There's no way this would have come up, right? So, I thank the hospitality industry for that. I thank the hospitality industry for, the travel that I've done, being able to travel, different destinations I've gone to, understanding destinations, understanding hotels, not just the hotel I was working in, but other hotels, understanding people, salespeople, what's important to them, what's important to your clients, listening, networking, all that stuff is important. I still do it to this day. I do more networking to this day than I did when I was a salesperson. Because now I'm on the other side, right? I'm on the other side of the industry, meaning I'm more of I represent the buyer, right, to the hotel people, right? So it's different than being the hotel seller. I'm selling my space or my rooms to this potential buyer, right? No, I'm the actual potential buyer now, right? So it's a little different, but I love it, right? I wake up every day, I'm like, I get to do this? I get to travel for a living? You know what I mean? I get to book business here. I get to go to places I've never been to before. Steve was mentioning earlier that he's going to, what was that, Georgia. I was just in South Carolina. Now I have to go back to North Carolina, right? So areas that I've never been to before. I've been to Atlanta. I've been to the South, but I had never been to South Carolina. So now I get to go there again, right? So, I mean, those are things that this job or this position or this business has afforded me. So I ain't got nothing but good things to say. So the purpose is for me to share those experiences with people, right? To get other people involved in this industry, to help them along the way, to help them avoid some of the pitfalls that some of us have maybe fallen in or maybe almost fallen into. Me sharing an experience about, how I had to check my general manager, or how I don't drink any more than two cocktails in the evening. There's stories behind that. That's why I don't do it, right? I've seen the pitfalls. I've seen people fall in and not get out. You know what I mean? So those are the things that I share. So the purpose of this is for me to share my experiences. And along the way, we get people that come in and share their experiences as well. They talk about some of their pitfalls. No two pitfalls are the same. No two experiences are the same, right? So I get people come in and, they talk about how they got in the industry. What do they do? What advice do they have for people coming in? And not all of them are sales. Some of them are, they can be general managers, they can be owners, they can be, VPs of management companies or whatever, and, my job is to explain all that stuff, like ownership versus a management company. Some people don't even know the difference. Some people don't know that most hotels are managed or owned by a management company. They're not owned by the name that's on the building. We see Marriott and like, okay, well, that's owned by Marriott. No, that's not the case. Probably 9 out of 10 of them are not. Okay, so those are things that I like to educate people on, because a lot of people don't know that. They just assume that, okay, if it has that big M on there, well, that's the mayor. Well, a lot of times these ownerships, they get into what do you call franchise agreements, right? Just like a McDonald's or Wendy's or whatever else, right? It's a franchise agreement. Yeah, they own it. They may not manage it. Okay, so so there's a lot of different idiosyncrasies that go on that we just don't know. But my job is to let people know. So that's the purpose of why I do what I do. Passion. Either you have it or you don't. So if you don't have passion for what you do, what should you do? Do something else. Go find something else to do. Don't even waste your time, okay? And then perseverance. Be consistent, continue to evolve. Don't give up, and swerve when you need to. I don't use the word pivot. I use swerving, okay? So I see I see something come along in the horizon, and I say, that's a pitfall. That's a potential pitfall. So what am I going to do? Go through it, or am I going to go around it? I'll swerve around it, okay? Just like the whole, I see a pitfall at my job. My general manager is drinking, okay? What am I going to do? Get into it with him and then try to pivot myself out of it? Or I'm going to swerve around it and take him with me and say, hey, this ain't the way to go. All right. But I'm not going to get in the same hole next to him with him or her. So just remember that, you're always on stage. In this industry, you're always performing. In a lot of jobs, you're always performing, right? You're always on stage. You heard that before. Disney, they say when they, you're going to be on stage. Well, it's not literally on stage. It's your job, right? But people are watching you. You're performing for somebody. So I don't care what job you have, you're performing for someone. Okay, you are on a stage. Okay, so how are they going to think about you? Are they going to think of you as, respectfully? They're going to like you, whatever. They're going to look at you like, what a clown. What the heck is he doing? Why is he doing that? Why is he acting that way? Why is he drinking instead of just 2 drinks, he's drinking 4? You know what I mean? People look at that stuff. Okay, people look at that stuff, and it does matter. It makes a big difference, right? It's those little things. We think of it as little things, but some people think of it as big things. They make a huge difference in how how people perceive us, okay? Some people don't care about that. Well, I do. And most people in this working world, they do care about what people think about them, right? So let's just make sure we're doing the right thing. We don't get caught up in some BS that we don't need to get caught up in. So anyway, let's move on. We're almost done here. I'm almost done. So once again, this is the JW Marriott, LA Live. This is it. So, hey, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at russell@russellofhotels.com. Once again, this is On Air with Russell of Hotels. This is show number 242. Remember, tomorrow I do the daily check-in with Russell of Hotels. So I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate Mr. Lonnie Wolf coming on here. Better late than never. Mr. Lonnie Wolf, thank you guys so much for coming on. Miss Janie, Steve, appreciate you coming on as well. Today is Taco Tuesday, so I got to figure out something, Lonnie, because the refrigerator was bare. I didn't find anything, so I got to figure something out, Lonnie. So maybe I got to go to the store. I don't know. But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you guys for joining. Let me cue up my music. You guys have a great day, great week, and we'll see you soon. And thank you again for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels. This is show number 242. Until tomorrow.
Thank you for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels. Please tune in every Tuesday at 1 p.m. as we talk to other hospitality professionals. Your feedback is important to Russell. Feel free to email him at russell@russellofhotels.com with any questions or suggestions. Until next time, try not to be a person of success. Rather, become a person of great value.